They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Joseph. How are you? You're muted. You are muted. Today is Joseph's birthday.
Sorry, yes, it is my birthday. Thank you for the birthday present. It only took you 3 years to pick a song worth listening to.
Oh my God, I fucking love it. Like I love the memes that are coming from it. Like it's truly a blessing that I didn't actually. Did you watch the debates live?
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, it was hilarious though.
It was absolute garbage.
You were hoping for like a Hillary and like
Oh,
a revisit to that. I figured.
Absolutely. No, I was hoping for war.
Oh
I was
my
hoping
God.
he'd at least take off his shoe and throw it at her or something.
Oh
shit
my
like
God.
That.
That actually happened in a country just like yesterday or the day before. He not a shoe, but he threw a steel chair.
Who did that?
I don't remember. I was listening to it yesterday, and it was in Venezuela. I don't remember, but he threw
It probably was Venezuela.
chair. He threw
It would happen there.
chair. Oh my God. Oh, let me get your tip, Robert. Can you?
Thank
also
you, everybody in the chat, by the way.
Yes,
39 for
40
those
years
asking.
old. 40. Fucking 50-year-old Wi-Fi.
Hey, going on 27 though.
No,
I actually was going to try something different. I didn't get to leave on time, but I actually was going to go to McDonald's and try the Wi-Fi.
No, don't do that.
No, I know.
Oh my God.
Too late now. We're live. And again, thank you, everybody, in case you didn't hear me.
Robert says, so glad you're back finally, Tristan. Hope you feel better. By the way, I finally got an interview tentatively scheduled. I did get your email. I just I actively avoided anything, and I apologize to anybody I didn't email back, just because I felt like shit, and I was pissed about feeling like shit, and then I was mad at myself for being mad at myself, and it was just this endless cycle. So yeah, scheduled with Tom King for the 6th of October. I got to come up with a list of questions. Oh, I did remember reading that. He has to have a list of questions to give to their PR person ahead of time.
Yeah. That's actually what was supposed to be done when you and I spoke with Abel last year.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, but I didn't think he was serious. I didn't know he had an agent yet. I still thought I just didn't do it.
I think he agreed to it more likely because he was totally crushing on you.
He gave me a phone number too. He said, "Send it to my agent." Say, whatever, fucker. Here.
He gave you a phone number. I told you.
Yeah. No, it's his agent's phone number.
Yep.
Oh, whatever.
Yep, sure. If you want me to ask anything, send me a few questions. Okay, that's awesome. That's crazy though. Like I've had a couple, bigger interviews from bigger writers, and none of them have ever been like, you know what? Don't ask weird questions, or don't I need a list of ones beforehand. That's crazy.
No, they all do that. I just, like I said, I didn't take Abel seriously. I think it's just a shitty approach. I think you should just get out there and shoot straight.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had a lot of people just be like, no, I don't care, whatever. But yeah, that's weird. Also, thank you, Punk. Welcome back, Tristan in Canada. Not a real place. We've gone over this. Not a real fucking place.
Then where did Lauren Chen flee to?
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What's so funny about that is I was looking at pictures this morning for the thumbnail, and you can tell when she got her money because she had a very clear change in look. Like it looked like she got some work done to.
Yeah. Oh my
God, this is gonna sound so racist, so I apologize ahead of time. To look more white.
Oh, you can tell. You can even tell. Look at her earlier videos when she was still an atheist. She was even darker back then.
Wait, she was an atheist?
Yeah, she's another one of those that converted and then went batshit.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I did not. That's new news to me. I mean, she's adorable. Don't get me wrong, she's beautiful, but Russian agent and all.
Yeah, she could have done better.
Yeah.
But really, we should start with the news that sprung up on us overnight. Sean Combs is finally arrested.
Oh my God. That is insane. Like, okay, it feels like they have been kind of like going that way, right? Like
Yeah.
we've definitely heard leaks and stuff like that. But yeah, P. Diddy was arrested overnight or late last night.
Yeah.
And is as far as I know, does he not? He can't get out.
What do you mean he can't get? Well, he is arrested, and he was only arrested last night. He's going to be arraigned today, and the indictment will also be unsealed today. And for those who
Oh
wonder why
shit.
they do that, grand jury proceeding, you have to get a grand jury before you're arrested. Grand jury proceedings are supposed to be a secret, so that nothing's unsealed until you at least know you got the right guy. So you find out today, like if you don't want to go arrest this black man named Sean Combs, turns out it was an Asian woman by the same name, and then you go to the court, unseal the document, you release all this dirt on the wrong person, right?
Okay, so
It
that
can't be
makes
something,
sense. Yeah.
right? And then the real Sean Combs, flees to Canada and changes her name to Lauren Chen. You can't do that.
I mean, I
That's
could see it
why.
happening though. Bye, punk.
Have a good one. And thank you again, Reese, for the happy birthday. Well, anyway, so that's why it's unveiled. It's all revealed real slow. There's a process to it. So the process begins today. I was checking articles before we went live. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still not seeing anything. I don't even know if he's gone up before the judge yet. He should, but it's going to take a few hours regardless. If that started an hour ago, we probably won't know
Yeah.
anything really new until after we're done streaming.
Oh
But
yeah.
we do
Maybe
know,
even later.
right? But we do know. Well, that's always been the expectation. This has something to do with human trafficking, possibly weapons and drug trafficking. The fact that the Department of Justice was the one who served the warrant, because they were the ones investigating him, means this is across national waters. This is an international concern, because the FBI only does domestic cases. So that means there are connections from all across.
It is so weird to me that he was even arrested because, like, I grew up in like the P. Diddy, Jay-Z, like Nelly era. And it was
Yeah.
like he was this massive star that could do, I mean, like behind the scenes, did he do it? Yes, he definitely did. I mean, allegedly, he definitely did it. But absolutely insane to me. Like, this has been the year of people being uncovered for either like sex pest or Russian assets or just wild shit.
I know all kinds of shit from behind the scenes is coming up now.
I mean, I kind of love it though. I love the tea.
Oh, it's definitely something to talk about, sure. But it's like I said, as far as Sean's charges, unfortunately, we don't know specifically yet. Here's also another thing: a lot of the allegations in civil court that have been coming up, even though they're all expected to be related, there's a good chance most of that will not even come up at trial, even if it's related. What little is related is definitely going to come up, and it's going to be relevant, possibly to the trafficking charge. Here's also another thing: there could be kidnapping charges, because let's say he's got people for, it doesn't even have to be sex trafficking. It could be other kinds of forced labor, but for any reason they don't feel like they're free to go for a reasonable fear for their life and safety, then those are kidnapping charges.
Right.
So maybe, and a lot of these girls did allege they weren't actually free to go very often. So that could be part of it. If you hold on one moment, I have to step aside for one moment. But
Nope.
what are
Yep.
your
Go
thoughts
ahead.
so far?
Let me get this from Robert real quick. Robert says, by the way, did you see that Johnny Depp case? If it happened in the world of Ace Attorney playlist I sent you. I'm still cracking up at how perfect that all fits. No, but I actually didn't even see that email. I'll have to check it out, but I'll probably send it to Steph too, because she loves that Ace Attorney stuff. That's actually hilarious.
I like those Ace Attorney memes. Yeah, those are good.
Those
So
were
anyway,
those
yeah,
were
those are good.
really good during the Jet Oh my God, if I can
The
talk.
Depp,
The
the Depp
Depp trial.
trials.
Yes, they were good.
There you go. Your speech will come back to you soon.
I know. And then now we've got all the memes from the cats and the dogs.
I'm about to start another one because I notice anytime you take a short hiatus, former President Cheeseball almost gets shot. So I'm
Oh
starting
my
to see a connection.
God. Like, the, how? Like, the first time I heard that, the new one, I
I
was kind of
noticed
like
I noticed that
side-eyeing it. Like,
you and the assassins are never in the same
you're
area.
right. You're right. You're right.
That's interesting.
I'm never in the same room with Batman either, but there's no rumors about that. God. No, I mean, like, the first time I seen it, I was like, like, a conspiracy theorist in me was like, he did really bad at the debate.
No,
Is he trying to garner?
I was actually on the phone with Elon, who has a very interesting meeting on Thursday. Can't tell you what about, but
Let's go,
somebody
Elon.
well somebody was shouting from the background that someone shot at him again, and then the story changed to shots were fired in his area, so we didn't even know if it was related yet.
Right.
All right, so the news skips ahead. Turns out this man he's actually kind of straight. You know what's funny? If you look at the shooter, he actually if you've never seen Elon Mudd in person, that's actually what he looks like. The guy who just got arrested in Florida for pointing a gun at Trump.
Oh my God. Is Elon's heart broke? I know he's a big Trumper. Send him our sympathy. No, I'm just kidding. Elon is awesome.
No, like I said, if everything goes well Thursday, I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you this is something he has been gunning for since he started drawing comics. I'll tell you that
Hell
much.
yeah. Hell
But
yeah. That's awesome. I'm always glad to hear good news for him. But
so yeah, so moving back to again the big news overnight is what is Sean Combs in trouble for? This is a hard one this is a real hard one to pin when we don't know the exact charge, and then the lawyer for Sean Combs has long been alluding to charges of trafficking, and again weapons trafficking, drug trafficking. So this is some really big shit he's in, and he's already 52 years old. He at this point seems like he'd be lucky to get out by the time he's 95.
I
If this
mean,
stuff is
wait,
really
he's
that
how
bad.
old?
He's 52.
Oh my God, I'm so old. God.
I know that. Yes, you are. Anyway, so now here's also what people are wondering: what about the civil allegations? Does that carry over into the criminal allegations? The best answer is necessarily not. It's generally expected because of all the rumors going around. So assume any of that's true. Some of what you heard in the civil allegations is going to go over into this trial. However, um, that may that first off, that's a bad look for him no matter what. And because one of the trials was already thrown out, actually, that was thrown out months ago. Because one of the trials was thrown out months ago, that does actually lend itself to Sean's defense. Because
Oh,
Sean's been saying this is all over. These are people trying to get a quick payday. He's not guilty. Which of course, whether or not somebody's guilty, of course, you expect somebody to say something like that.
right.
But presume innocence, guys. We don't actually know the evidence, so let's try and get you a preview of what could come from all this. So let's say the prosecution is going to argue that there's some kind of relationship between the civil allegations and these charges going before him later today. Well, because one of the lawsuits was already dismissed, that now lends itself to his defense, where he gets to say these are he gets to say in a general sense that these are fraudulent attempts, and one of them was already thrown out. And here's what happened. I think it was the second lawsuit against him. The allegations take place before the statute was even written, and per constitutional law, it's illegal to actually punish somebody for anything that happened before the statute was even written. So that one had to be dismissed
Right.
on constitutional grounds. And then in response to that challenge, the accuser, forgot her name, sorry,
Is it
she said,
Cassie?
no, it wasn't Cassie's. No,
Okay.
Cassie's was settled. So Cassie's was settled. This is somebody else. And in response, when Sean's lawyer said that this had to be thrown out, she said, as a refresh of recall, the incident actually took place in New Jersey, not New York. Which it's not that hard to confuse the two. They're not actually spelled the same or anything like that. So that's actually a big deal. Okay, that's actually a big deal. So if the prosecution wants to introduce those civil claims for any purpose, for any kind of shot at Sean Combs' credibility, the prosecutor is now opening the door to that defense specifically. Now, it's not the strongest argument, but it is a start. That's the best thing we can say about his defense so far. When it comes to the charges he may be facing, so if he's actually responsible for some kind of trafficking or and any kind of human trafficking, drug trafficking, and any of that, chances are the federal government is looking for any kind of names. There's going to be following money and names, including pseudonyms. That could lend itself. That could also be a defense for Sean because he's going to try and detach himself from any pseudonyms as much as possible. Without actually knowing the exact charges, we don't actually know exactly if if any of that's true. Just trying to guess, just based on all the rumors that have been circulating, the fact that Department of Justice executed 2 search warrants on 2 properties at the same time. They caught him. They got his phone for some reason. We'll find out probably more about that later today. But this is big. Like I said, he'd be lucky if he got out by the time he's 95. He's got a lot. He's probably facing some very serious shit because the federal government does not go after people if they don't have a case. If you look at the kind of stuff they do invest their time in, the kind where they do invest all their efforts, like trafficking. These are very complicated cases. They take a lot of time and resources. So they won't go after you if they don't have something good. I'm seeing numbers thrown around like the federal government has between like a conviction rate of 92% to 97%.
Oh, wow.
And it would be for that reason. And it is a matter of fact, they don't go after you unless they have a really good case. So he's off to a really bad start. It would look like just but going to court. But like I said, at the same time, we don't really know the evidence. One thing that's also funny, there actually was one, if anybody missed it, the one guy who sued Sean Combs actually got a $100 million default judgment. I actually got a win by $100 million default judgment. Yes. So supposedly Sean Combs wasn't served the paperwork properly, but this guy's in prison in Michigan right now. He had his hearings through a damn webcam, talking to the judge like that. Yeah, you can watch the hearing. According to basically, this is what it comes down to. There was a sexual assault. When this man was sleeping, he blames Combs. He said his butthole was bleeding, and now he wants $100 million.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
May or may not. Now, another interesting thing, just as a caveat here. Now, the default judgment was entered. Unless it relates to this trial, it's not going to come up. If it's not related to any of the federal charges, it's not going to come up. This took place in California. So the state of California said Sean Combs owes this man $10 million a month starting October.
Oh my god!
But this inmate does have a history of filling out frivolous motions.
Just he won an interesting caveat.
He won by default, yes. Because here's what happened: Sean just didn't want anything to do with the trial. He said he wasn't properly served the papers. As far as I know, that was something I was reading up on before we went live, so I don't know anything past that.
Oh my god, that's crazy! Did you ever see the video of Sean Combs with, I think it was Cassandra, when he was like, they were in a hotel and he was just irate, like raging and just beating the shit out of her? It's horrifying.
Yeah, when he ran down the hall, grabbed her, threw her back down, apparently wanted her to go back into the room. That would have been kidnapping, but apparently the statute of limitations has expired. So, and that would have only been a state matter, and California never pursued. Plus, I believe that took place in the Los Angeles area. The district attorney here is one of those that barely ever prosecutes.
No,
there was a drunk driver. I don't even know if he was drunk, but a driver took a sharp turn it's a neighborhood that has the houses are next to a lot of alleys. Okay, so if you walk out your back door, you're in an alley, and then
Right.
across from that is your neighbor. Okay, it's really tight space, and he's turning sharp. What he had to been going at least 30, but he hit this woman pushing a stroller.
Oh
She is
my
perfectly
god.
fine. She's perfectly
Oh
fine.
my god.
The baby is no longer with us.
Oh my god.
The district attorney's office would only pursued 5 months probation, and I think it was
Oh my god. What?
unsupervised. Yeah, yeah. You look, George Gascon is a son of a bitch. He is. Hopefully, if we're lucky, he gets voted out.
That's
Because
horrifying.
look, here's the thing: in my county, they prosecute. The next county down, all the surrounding counties they prosecute. But the Los Angeles County, even though like spatially it's tiny, but it's the most densely populated, and it's always been a high crime county. So because that whole county isn't really prosecuting, yeah, the crimes come over here. So we wouldn't we really wouldn't have that many problems if LA would take care of the problems. But unfortunately, all the neighboring counties have to take care of that mess. So that would be also if the statute of limitations hasn't expired, and I haven't looked into it, but if it hadn't expired, that could also be why Sean Combs hasn't even been charged. It could be either the statute of limitations expired or LA just isn't interested, even though anybody on earth would have seen that's a very serious crime.
Yeah,
That,
yeah, that's horrifying. That video is very, very like I watched it once just to see what happened, and then I that's horrifying.
I know it's. I mean, Christ, the man ran full speed in a towel to do it.
No,
He
he
did.
like he that was
Didn't you
pure
ever see
rage.
American Psycho? Remember Norman ran out bare ass with the chainsaw? That's basically what that reminds
Yeah,
me of.
I love
And,
American Psycho. It's one of the like top 5 movies ever made.
so that's basically all we can say right now. In fact, can you look and see if there are any updates before we
Yep,
move on
I
to
sure
Lauren Chen?
can. Yep, I sure can. Um, as far as right before we went live, there was not. There is. Let me look at the live updates.
Because by now he could have at least entered the courtroom by now. Let me see. Yeah, it's almost noon out in New York. He could have at least entered the courtroom by now.
Let's see. Prosecutor alleges that he engaged in sex trafficking and forced labor. Oh my god.
All right, there it is. That's exactly where it's looking. Okay, so now that we know what his charges are, what kind of evidence are they looking for? Again, they're looking for names, places. They're looking for money, the transfer of money, the flow of money, who had it and when, and they're looking for any names connecting Sean Combs to the rest.
Wow. Prostitution, narcotic offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice.
And obstruction of justice. See, that one's new. So that means that whether or not any of this evidence was legitimate, the fact that he interfered is why he would get an obstruction charge.
Yeah.
So in other words, let's say next door, somebody calls the cops because they heard screaming next door. And even if it's just a movie that's being played too loud, but somebody heard screaming, cops now have a reason to go to that home.
Yeah.
All right, now, if you for any reason get in the way of the cops, it doesn't even matter if you know it's what the cops were called for. It doesn't even matter if you know it's just a movie inside. You can't get in the way once law enforcement has a reason to take any kind of action. So whether or not he even knew what law enforcement was looking for at that time, if he's getting in the way or if he's possibly even concealing evidence, that would be a reason for obstruction charges.
So this looks like they're going to be holding a news conference at 11:30.
Oh, that's in about half an hour. Shit.
Uh-huh. Holy crap. Oh my goodness, that is insane. He is in so much trouble. He created a criminal enterprise. What? Oh
Yeah.
my god. Okay.
I know that would make sense. Yeah, because if you're talking trafficking, when you're talking all that trafficking, you're talking weapons, drugs, and people, and forced labor, kidnapping, prostitution. You're either forcing them to sell, or he's pimping. Could be. He could be doing a lot of shit. Okay, but whatever the case, these are the charges they went with. Of course, we're really not gonna know anything more specific until they actually start explaining
Yeah.
on or about when this stuff actually took place. But remember, here's another thing: the warrants were only executed in March. Okay, that doesn't mean the investigation started a week before, or even a month before. This is something that's probably going on for a very long time.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the warrants, again, the warrants on Sean's house, exactly how long Sean has been investigated. Sorry, couldn't tell you that exactly, but it is a fact of law that in order to actually have a warrant, to have a warrant executed, or even just to apply for the warrant, there has to be some kind of recency to the evidence. So somebody had to have seen something current,
Right.
or at least close to that time, on or about that time, that would actually give law enforcement any legitimate claim to a warrant. So so even that right there was a clue that something was wrong. Now, even if Sean at that time, even if Sean hadn't done it, it would have been before these charges. It would have been plenty possible to say Sean really may not have done anything, but his house was involved. So at very least, you could say back then something happened on the property. But now we know he's arrested. He's in the indictment because he was always the target. And we had a clue a few months ago. He got a letter saying he was a subject of a grand jury, which doesn't specifically mean he's the target, the one they're trying to put away. A subject letter says you could be the target or a witness, and to stay available and don't get rid of anything because then you could be busted for tampering with evidence. So he did get a subject letter saying he could be the target or he could be a witness, but either way, be on standby. You could be called. So he at very least knew, assuming he's guilty, he knew this was coming.
Yeah, he knew something was.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely knew. I wonder if the obstruction could have been if he received that letter and then after had thrown away some sort of evidence or something along those lines.
Maybe that would explain the obstruction charges, because, like I said, we got to know specifically what he actually did. So I'm speculating here quite a bit. But it's going to be, sorry if you guys hear an airplane going by. But anyway, whatever the case, with those kind of charges, the kind of action against him so far ever since March, this guy is probably going away for a very long, very long time.
Yeah.
But, well, I know we'll have to see. Let's move on to the next subject for a moment.
Before we move on, let's get this real quick. Robert said, "Did you see the Venom 3 trailer?" Okay, for number one, I was not excited for Venom 3 at all. At all.
I'm not either.
I was not. And then I saw Noel. And then I saw, on top of seeing Noel, that it was going to be portrayed by Norman Reedus. I'm all in on Venom 3. Like, I think it looks legit cool. Like, Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman are gonna be they're not gonna be hurting for money whatsoever. And King in Black, bring it. I'm excited. I actually am excited for Venom 3.
Well, the artist did a great job with this movie. The trailer does look fantastic.
It's does.
Just that I'm just really not liking their relationship between Eddie and the symbiote. It's too comical. It's too stupid.
It's a little quirky. Like, it's a little, like, I don't know. Like, it's just too much. It's over the top, especially in Venom 2. I was just like, all right, enough. Like, I don't know. Play Lollipop Chainsaw. I have not. I'm saving it for stream. So I've got Lollipop Chainsaw Repop ready to go for this week. I'm excited to play it, but I was saving it to kind of get the full effect on stream. Actually, and also I've been playing Coral Valley, so I haven't been obsessed at all.
Well, nothing's worse than Conquered. Jesus.
Conquered?
Oh, you didn't hear about that?
Oh, my God. Yes. Like, that game's just dead in the water. Like, there was, like, you guys made fun of Suicide Squad, and this did worse than
I know somebody finally did something worse. We didn't think it was possible, but in came Conquered and broke records. Broke records, but not hearts.
broke records, and then broke records on the quickest AAA game, shut down immediately.
And that's a sad thing too, because that game actually looked fantastic. I think the art was actually really good. The lighting, the overall, the colors, I think everything actually did look really good. It actually looked like it played well, but people hated it.
I looked at some of the designs, and they were less than desirable. I'll just say that. Like, they did
No,
some
they
of
were
the character
horrible.
designs were really, really bad.
They all look like Garbage Pail Kids. They look horrible.
But if they actually like based it off of Garbage Pail Kids or did
Yeah.
something like that, it would be fucking
Honestly,
cool. It was
I
the
think a
bad
real
version.
Garbage Pail Kids game would have actually done more.
That would have actually
would have actually done a lot better. I'd play the fuck out of it. That movie is fucking grotesque, but I'll play the fuck out of that game.
Oh my god. Wait, there's not going to be a lot of Nolan Venom 3? Okay, now I don't care.
I don't think you should expect that. If you look at the villains in the last two movies, we didn't get a lot of them. And that sucks because I think they did a great job with all the animations. It's just these movies were they were fun movies. That's the thing. I did actually enjoy them, but I didn't feel like I was watching a hero at play. I didn't feel like I was watching a hero of any kind.
Marvel's had a villain problem. I mean, I guess it's not technically Marvel, it's Sony, but they've had a hero or a villain problem for a very long time. Coral Valley? Did I say Coral Valley? A Coral Island started crossover. I would be on Cloud 9. No, Coral Island. I love that game. And I'm mildly obsessed.
Well, anyway, so you asked me about the debates, and they sucked. The debates sucked.
The debates, okay, I didn't watch it live. I didn't watch the full thing through. I didn't like. I will say I've only, I've probably seen 3/4 of it though. Like, and it's comical to me to see. I think there was somebody that did like a, how many lies were told type thing, and Kamala had 1 or 3 and Trump had like 77. It was crazy.
Did you see the alleged whistleblower complaint? I haven't. I don't know how legitimate that would be. I'm not even exactly sure why that needed a whistleblower complaint, but there's allegation going around that the hosts were fired.
Why?
And because they weren't impartial. Thank you, Todd. Apparently they weren't impartial. They were showing too much favor for Kamala Harris. It's just going around. It doesn't seem to be true. It doesn't seem like it's holding any ground.
So in order to fact check somebody, they have to be
that has to be a fact.
Right. They have to be telling a lie. And if they were fact checking Trump and debunking his statements, then it's probably because he was lying.
Well, here's also another thing. Supposedly it was predetermined that only Trump would be fact checked the entire time. According to this whistleblower complaint.
Who's the whistleblower?
Well, that's the point of a whistleblower. This sprung up over the weekend. But yeah, it's out there. The whistleblower hasn't been named. Remember, that's the point of a whistleblower protection. You're not supposed to know. I was just wondering if you had read it, seen it.
No, I'm curious if they'll do an investigation, though.
I think they will. If this is legitimate, somebody somewhere will, but I don't even know. I don't know where it was filed. I don't know what reason you would blow the whistle.
I don't know. Raymond said, so Springfield isn't eating pets. This is crazy, okay? The thing that annoys me about it is there are fucking people in the area that I live that are poisoning pets, poisoning strays, killing them. Yes.
And they're not just chickens?
Like cats, like animals, just, and then because this is a culture war issue, now people care. Stop it. People aren't eating pets. It's wild to me that this is even going around. Like, Springfield had to lock down elementary schools, had to lock down their town hall, colleges were dismissed, like all because of now all of these massive bomb threats because it was mentioned on the debate floor.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been hearing something about bomb threats. I didn't know that was all connected.
Yep. I know of 2 elementary schools that were, I don't know if they were dismissed early or if they were on lockdown. I know the college was dismissed early. I know there was multiple bomb threats at the hospitals, it's out of control that all he has to do is mention a city that has immigrants. Now, mind you, they are legal immigrants, right? Legal.
Yes.
And then there was this video that was floating around that they were trying to say that this woman ate a cat. And it wasn't even from Springfield. It wasn't recent. It was a woman that was an American. Like,
Okay.
it blows my mind. Quant Geekery, it's good to see you. Opinion: Harris used a detailed misdirection style in debate, verbal communication style. Trump used a broad nonverbal appeal strategy that works at emotional appeal. Emotions guide decisions. I don't disagree.
No, I agree. I agree with what you said, and also Kamala has long been very skilled at avoiding the most important questions. That's why when she got shamed out of the last presidential run by Tulsi Gabbard,
Oh,
if you
yeah, I
actually,
do remember that.
yes, but now do you actually remember what was actually being thrown at Kamala? The whole thing that when she was a prosecutor, first off, she
Yep.
was a San Francisco district attorney and the California attorney general. So she's had a lot of experience prosecuting people. There were issues when she was a San Francisco DA. There was one drug lab. It was a government drug lab because for testing the evidence. There were issues coming out of this one lab. She was aware. Her office was made aware by deputy
Yep.
attorneys multiple times. Sorry about that. Made aware multiple times, and she chose to ignore it. And ultimately, that led to something around 1,000 people released from prison because she prosecuted people on evidence she knew to be faulty.
Yep. I do remember that. That was, Kamala has absolutely been known for some shady tactics when she was a prosecutor.
Yeah, she's rotten. And now that's the woman running for president. You have one guy convicted of multiple, like 34 felonies. First
Yeah.
off, that's a funny number. But whether or not, and like I said, I don't agree with the felony charges. I agree with the misdemeanor charges. But regardless, you have somebody arguably a political prisoner versus somebody who was never killed anybody, but Christ, what she did should have been in the criminal codes long ago.
Yeah.
But governments just won't
It's
do it.
literally the lesser of 2 evils at this point. I guess that's how it always is, right?
I'm not seeing a lesser, honestly, but
I am.
what she did, no, what she did is absolutely rotten. You don't.
For sure.
Now, the whole reason we have these rules is to protect us from people like her.
Yeah.
So we have no idea how many truly innocent people she put in prison because she was, I guess, she was gunning for that role in the, as attorney general, and then maybe from there as senator. I don't know. Whatever the reason doesn't matter, though. It wasn't supposed to be done.
2 things. Okay, so this actually reminded me, and not that he said anything, but have you ever seen those videos of the debates like via 2008, 4, 2000, and then
hey, wait, is it true that Tim Pool has a video of cats being barbecued?
Oh my God. So I was looking into this stuff. This video is well over a year old. It's not even confirmed that they're cats. It does look like cats. And it's not even confirmed that it was done by immigrants. This is just absolutely crazy. And mind you, we're talking about the man who we're going to get into here in a minute, who licensed his content to Russia. Right. I can't exactly say that's a good source of information.
And not just that though. In fact, we may as well just jump straight into that because I think.
Let me get this real quick. Final Fantasy 16 just released on Steam right now. You are going to love. Actually, I don't know if you're playing it, but You're going to fall in love if you are. It's one of the best games of 2023. Also, good morning, Puddin'. Okay, let's get into the stuff about Lauren Chen, Tenet Media, Tim Cass, who were the other? Dave Rubin. I know there's another one.
Lauren Southern,
Ben.
she's implicated.
Something.
Ben, I don't remember his. I know you're talking
I don't know.
About.
Yeah, and
Something
then there was mention of a Tucker Carlson video where he visits a
grocery store in Russia.
And he's like, even the Russians were like, "Whoa, that's a little bit shillish, but you know what? It's fine."
I know you can back off a little. Go take a cold shower, Tucker.
Oh my god! Like, how hard are you sucking Russia's dick to brag about how cool their grocery stores are?
That explains why his face is going inward. Shit.
Oh my god! Right.
But remember the issue, because all those people, remember, they weren't actually specifically named in that indictment. That's fair to them. So they're not actually being pursued for anything criminal specifically. Tim Pool is cooperating with Deep State Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Or so he says.
He says, but it's weird because I don't know why. Like I said, it's one of those things that it shouldn't even be happening if he didn't actually do anything. He's going to be questioned because he was somehow tied to it, and like the indictment actually says, it doesn't look like Tim actually knew, or at least the Department of Justice.
I don't know why I still have this up.
The Department of Justice, based on the way the evidence was gathered, they didn't have anything on Tim. So it seems like he just thought he was getting a hell of a deal. And the deal that he's getting $100,000 to put out 4 videos a week, and
4 videos a month. I thought.
Oh well, whatever the case, he's getting paid to put out these videos in a non-exclusive deal. So he makes them. He can put them on his channel, he's going to put them on other channels.
Tenet Media, I believe. His name was Benny Johnson. Thank you, Michael.
Benny Johnson. Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Okay, you said he didn't know. Okay, first off, these people are like.
It doesn't look like he knew.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
These people are like, oh, George Soros money, while being guilty of taking money from Russia. Now, if you're getting $100,000 for videos that would not even make a quarter of that on literally AdSense, aren't you looking at it a little like, this is a little sus? Like, come on. Some of those videos were getting 5 and 10K views. That's like $20. Like, you shouldn't be getting paid $100K for 5,000. I think that was more Rubin, not Tim Pool. But come on now.
Well, who would have said no to that kind of money? $100,000 for anything. Who would have said no to that kind of money?
I mean, anybody with a backbone, anybody with any sort of integrity, anybody that should have said, hey, I need to meet this person.
I don't think anybody's ever accused Tim Pool of having integrity.
Integrity, that's fair. Yeah, you make a good
Except for Tony, apparently. But past that, I don't think anybody's ever accused him of having integrity.
I don't even know Tony's gone that low, and he's gone low.
I'll read the chat.
I'm just kidding, Tony. But like, you can't be that. You can't be that dumb. Like, maybe they thought it was coming from like some rich Republican, which like it could have been.
Well, according to the indictment, the Russians that are being charged created a fake persona. They created a completely fake person for people to speak to.
Yep.
So that lends itself to Tim's credibility for people who think he's people who think he's just in on the propaganda. Well, yeah, he is, but here's the thing. Also, what he is saying, whether or not he's getting paid to say it, it is still a First Amendment protection. And that's why I don't even agree.
If he knew, you would have to disclose. You can't take money from Russia and knowingly hide that.
Well, the issue is with Lauren Chen and her husband, they knew, because that's why there were
Right.
text messages actually
Do
saying
you
things like,
get them from the Russians?
"Yeah,
How
we got paid."
stupid!
Oh, like you couldn't. I don't know. I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with it. But again, a lot of these things happen because, yeah, people really do think you do it like this, all bases are covered, and we're probably never ever going to get caught. All these generous amounts of money that we're making. How do we explain that on our taxes? We'll deal with that later. But yeah, when the money's in front of people, they start estimating they start estimating that they are going to be a lot more successful than they thought. They start anticipating that they are going to succeed just because they start seeing that money. And yes, they do start taking big risks. And
Like
that's
saying through a was it a private message or a text message?
I believe they were text messages. So it was
Did
actually
you
like
get
phone
the
number.
money from them? They're Russians. What? What?
Yeah, saying that the Russians paid. Yeah, saying specifically the Russians paid. So that shows they knew something. They knew a little bit more than what they were actually. They knew something. Here's the thing. Remember, also, they weren't supposed to be named. So I think it was CNN so far is credited for doing the independent research and
Right.
finding out who's who, because the indictment also mentions YouTube channels who has a certain amount of views. It's like or not just views, sorry, but subscribers.
Right.
So based on the number of subscribers that were actually
It
named
was
in
easy.
the,
Yeah.
yeah, so people started doing some other research, and then everybody else started naming themselves, especially after Lauren Chen got kicked off YouTube.
And I think it became pretty obvious, and people were trying to kind of run, I don't know, PR, right?
Yeah, people try to cover up, try to act like.
I don't think everybody has a price not to do the bidding of like Russian propaganda.
Even if they are, like I said in the email when I first spoke to you about this, I actually didn't even know what was going on. You asked me about it because I had seen all over the internet. People kept saying the Lauren Chen situation. I'm just thinking, yeah, she said something gay and pissed people off. I don't know, or she said something about the gays and it pissed people off. That's basically what I thought was going on, so I didn't look
Right.
into it. So then you asked me to do it, and then I realized she was implicated in this whole thing. But whatever the case, whatever she may or may have done, I wouldn't agree at this point with federal government going after her. And she's in Canada anyway. I don't know
Oh,
if
so wait, why she's Canadian? So she's what?
that
Hold
depends
on, what?
on.
Why
Yeah,
is she obsessed with U.S. politics?
like, well, she'll do anything for money. We just found that out.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Right. But anyway, so supposedly I think, yeah, she actually has said she's in Canada. I don't know if I think her husband's American.
Okay, that
I think
might
she,
be part of it
I
too.
think, don't quote me on that much. I honestly don't know what they're going to do about Lauren if she actually is living in Canada. That depends on if there actually are any felony charges that can be attached to her name, and
Okay,
whether
so
or not
just like you
Canada.
said with P. Diddy, the government doesn't go after you unless they have that like 95 to 97%
Yeah,
conviction rate. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
they're not going after them without a good amount of evidence behind the
right.
indictment.
Yeah, the thing with the Russians that were popped. So what happened? First off, they're acting as foreign agents without registering with the United States government.
Right.
That's part that so here's the thing that might confuse people. The speech is not the problem. Even if you're getting paid to say that, none of that is a problem. We pay people to speak all the time. They're called politicians. They take our taxes and they give speeches.
Right.
Paying people to speak isn't the problem. Private funds or not doesn't actually matter. The issue with the two Russians is that based on how they were set up, they were supposed to register with the government. And then the other charges, the money laundering charges, they were funneling the money through, I think, through bank accounts. Like, what was it? Brussels and France.
Yeah.
Okay. So they were funneling the money like that. And then for whatever reason, they got caught. And that's why those two are being charged. As far as Lauren, Tim, everybody below that. Well, first off, Republicans love Russia. I
It's
learned that
so weird.
very
It's so weird though.
I learned that a very long time ago. That
I
was back
mean,
when. Look, do you remember when Jon Stewart? It was. Let me see. Jon Stewart was still hosting the Daily Show. This was way before Trevor Noah came around, and they were, actually it was during Obama's presidency, and they had John like made a career out of showing how much Fox News loves Vladimir Putin, but absolutely despise Obama. So it was all about which communists they like and which communists they don't like. Like they love Russians.
It's so weird to me.
I know, but yeah, I can't fully make sense of it either. I'm guessing they're all on Russia's payroll at this point. We just have this all haven't been caught, and this is a good start. But as far as
there's gonna be more. If you've seen in those indictment papers, which I
yeah,
put in the description if you guys want to look at.
yeah, by
there
no means are
is-
they done.
Yeah, they're talking about websites they've taken down. They were talking about other influencers that there's a bunch that's going to be unveiled at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still more. So don't be surprised if people like Lauren Chen are indicted or Tim Pool. But like I said, at this point, it doesn't look like they have anything on him. And if they're going to use his support for Russian politics as evidence, that would be profoundly unconstitutional, even on these terms. Because,
There's
like I said,
clip. Did you see the clip floating around where he's like, "Ukraine is the enemy of the people."
Actually, you know what's funny? I think it's all from the same episode. I usually don't watch. I've only seen Tim Pool a handful of times.
Right.
And I thought it was just all the same shit. 4 hours a night. So I got over it too. I'm tired of hearing about Ukraine. But I was actually watching Matt live, and that outro that he was using for a while, where it was all five of them in a set up in a montage on when the Russian national anthem is playing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can see that out there too. So as they're saying all this stuff, everything anti-Ukraine, and talking about how the U.S. has to apologize to Russia, which they will not. Because remember when Obama went around apologizing to foreign nations, the right wing threw a shit fit, and I think I've even heard Tim Pool talk down on that. Talk down on Obama for apologizing to foreign nations. Well, whatever the case, I don't know. He is getting paid to ask for the apology too. But whatever the case, you didn't hear that part too?
No.
Oh, I think it's all in the same video that we should rescind all funding to Ukraine and apologize to Russia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which ain't gonna happen.
No,
of course.
I mean, but that's still no. I just seen the little clip because people were using it like when I was looking up the stuff about it, and it's kind of funny to see now all of that stuff looking back, like all of our media, and this is a really big issue. Most, if not, I mean, I don't want to say all because that's a little bit of hyperbole, but it's bought and paid for by somebody.
Yeah, there's almost no such thing as media that doesn't have money going into it. Like that was the issue with YouTube with the snowflake policy. That all started when that all started. People started following the money and the locations, and they trace it back to Google headquarters in California. Who at the same time,
snowflake policy? What's that?
When Google first started making changes to YouTube around the kind of content that would be taken down, that would be allowed, would not, unless you were a trusted source of news, or you were already.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So the first time I heard of that, it was a channel I was watching. This woman was I think she's somewhere East Coast, I think New York. She's she was an anthropologist, I think, and she posted a lot of different videos, often from a scientific perspective, but they weren't hard on the eye or anything. It's not like she was showing graphic images of death or violence or anything. Like some of the subjects she was talking about, like the obsession with the dark web, why people go all the way down there when they know what they're going to find, even if they may not actually want to see what they finally see. And that's the kind of stuff she was posting. She wasn't posting political content. She wasn't posting anything like that. Nothing that really struck me as controversial. Just seemed, I guess to a point. Some of these subjects were kind of kind of delicate. Some of these subjects were a little mature, but nothing crazy. And her whole channel got suspended.
What?
Yeah, and then she came back. She was gone for a year. She was gone for 1 full year, and then when she came back, I happened to catch the live video, and she was talking about why she was gone for a full year. And she was talking about this new policy on YouTube called the snowflake policy. And that's when people started losing their channels. They were getting booted for little shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was the one to explain that to me. I mean, like I said, you follow that money, and that's why a lot of people were talking down on California at the time. They're implying that the funds are coming from California, that the money's going basically straight from from Sacramento, where legislature is, and just being basically just being sent straight to Google to have this liberal bias on YouTube. True, it may be because
Wait,
you
what? Did you
what
say liberal bias on YouTube?
yeah.
You can't be serious.
Well, hold on. Let's face facts. Whatever you want to call that, the way Google changed was dramatic. The changes were big. Your channel got hit. Lots of channels that shouldn't have been hit got hit.
Yeah, for sure.
And also they like their YouTube wasn't known for censoring its content back then. YouTube was really not known unless it was
used
something.
to be like the Wild Wild West. It was wonderful, and then
Yeah, yeah, there were like a handful, like really a handful of subjects you couldn't find freely on YouTube. Okay, but yes, let's be honest with ourselves. Hell, even to this day, if I go to Google right now, I usually if I pick any news articles, it's something local. But
oh, for sure.
the Google app, still to this day, it'll let you say you're not interested in most subjects, most articles. But for the most pressing issues, they come from CNN, CBS, MSNBC, ABC, and you don't have the option to dismiss those.
Is ABC liberal?
If it's not right wing, it's liberal.
Okay, well, it's let's see. Hold on. Let's see who comes up first. I'm just gonna Google on my phone P Diddy.
Whether you think it's liberal bias, mainstream media bias,
mainstream media bias, I can completely agree with. But the first things that come up when I type in P Diddy is NBC, CNN, AP, New York Times, and Fox News. So I mean, I think there's. Have you ever heard of that app, Newsbreak? I think it is. And
yeah,
it shows the leanings, and it shows how much they're known for telling the truth and stuff.
Yeah, I've heard of. I never tried it out, but yeah, I've heard of it. Well, do you trust it?
I don't know.
Especially, think about this though, because if the truth falls specifically along political lines, and you have an app saying we'll tell the truth when everybody else won't, right off the bat, do you trust it?
Absolutely not.
All right. I haven't looked into it. If they're doing it right, they're doing it right. Maybe they are. Maybe maybe they're not. But when it comes to looking for the truth out in the real world, we should be look at the statements and then ask ourselves, is that actually what we're seeing? Like the whole issue with immigrants, legal or not, eating animals. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. And if it's real, okay, it's an issue. You can deal with that locally. What's that got to do with me out here where I am?
You know what's fucking great too about that is
what's up?
Do you know who DeWine is?
No.
He is a pro-Trump Republican. Is he the governor of Ohio? He's the main guy in Ohio. He sent a bunch of aid, right? Did a bunch of really great stuff for Springfield. They came out and asked him, is there any evidence? This was just like 2 days ago. And he was like, no, there's no evidence. And then there was an interview with J.D. Vance where he said he created the narrative. Like,
yeah, it wasn't that on ABC, I think.
I think so.
Like ABC. Yeah, I remember I didn't see the whole thing, but I remember him saying something like, if we don't tell these stories, if we don't tell these stories, the people won't listen, they won't pay attention to the issue. But I'm here wondering, did you tell the truth?
Right. He says we have to create this narrative. And I'm like, brother, you don't have to create fake fucking news for people to listen. There are issues in Ohio with people with pets, but it's not eating them. It's trying to kill them via poison. Like, that's a real issue. But, you know, that's not cool for the culture war.
Hold on, the poisoning story is a little bit newer to me. What's that one?
I mean, you have a lot of people like with strays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Putting
you said that. Yeah, you did mention that earlier. They're being put down.
Yeah, well, no, they're not. They're inhumanely being killed. They're being poisoned, literally with poison mixed into hard food in areas where there's an overpopulance of stray animals. So
so have local authorities.
Yeah,
my understanding is that's something that local authorities would have to handle. It would have to be local. Would you have out there, Humane Society?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So is that what they're talking about? Are they reporting an abundance of cat corpses that have been poisoned? Do they even look into this stuff?
No, they don't look into it. Stop it. Come on now.
You see, that's what I mean. You don't know either way. That's what I was getting at earlier. Look at whatever the truth of the statements. What are they talking about, and is that actually what you're seeing? So for that whole thing, obviously they're just he's done. There's a reason. There's a reason Dow picked him for his lap. He seems to fit conveniently.
It's weird. It's weird. He's such a weird dude.
Doesn't he just have a resting? He has like a what is it? There is something about his resting facial expression though. Yeah.
Yeah,
there's something like, I can tell you're on the registry. You found the way out.
Or the spectrum, whichever. I mean, pick your poison. That was probably insensitive. I apologize.
Oh, but on the spectrum, was it?
Yeah. I mean,
like you care.
I was gonna say nobody ever comes to my channel for me to be sensitive. So come on now.
All right. The insensitive monster.
I know.
But anyway. So I'm looking at the news. I'm not seeing any updates on Sean Combs. I'm only seeing. Actually, it looks like the man who tried to shoot Trump actually has some videos out.
Oh my God. Oh wait, I wanted to ask you one thing about the Lauren situation.
Yes.
What did you think about YouTube taking pretty quick action when it comes to getting rid of her channel and getting rid of the Tenet Media channel?
Since she didn't, it's a bad look for Lauren because she wasn't even indicted. She wasn't even named in the indictment. Her name came up with independent research because her YouTube channel was implied. So she wasn't even indicted. And actually, even Tenet Media wasn't named. I'm not even sure how they pieced all that together. So I find all that a little bit. I found that premature. But like, YouTube doesn't have to allow it if they don't want to. Right. That's another thing about it. But anyway, the prosecutor is talking.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the prosecutor is talking. So then we'll probably touch on that in a little bit since we still got some time to go. But as far as Lauren's situation, like I said, she wasn't even named, so that seems a bit premature to me. Nothing they did was illegal though. Google doesn't have to allow that on their channels if they really don't want to.
Hold on.
Yes.
Nothing Lauren did was illegal.
Lauren wasn't named. At this time, remember, she was not named in the indictment. There are no charges against her.
Right.
We don't know if she actually did.
It's pretty clear it's her. Like it's confirmed it's her.
Like I said, it does look like her. And like I said, at this point, we don't actually know for sure. We don't actually know for sure if she's going to be charged. We don't know everything she knows. Maybe she will. And I'm not really convinced based on this alone, I don't think she should, just because she's getting paid to speak, which is what we do freely in the U.S. anyway. Just because she's getting paid, I wouldn't agree with those charges.
But she's getting paid from Russia. And
it doesn't matter who she's getting paid from. That's the thing. It doesn't matter who she's getting paid. And again, everything was funneled. Everything. Well, no, excuse me. Sorry, I forgot about the text. Yeah, her husband gave those away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even though she knows, like I said, maybe she does know enough for charges. For that, we got to wait and see. But if your best evidence is the actual content that she's commenting on, the actual contents of her speech, I absolutely do not agree with that. Whether or not you're getting paid, I don't agree with that whatsoever.
So
whether or not it comes from Russia.
But she didn't disclose it. That's the issue.
And I know she didn't disclose it, but at the same time, since she wasn't charged, like I said, at this point, because she wasn't charged, she was not named in the indictment. More can come. As a matter of legal fact, yeah, more can come. This is not done. They only announced, and I don't even know if they got those 2 Russians. I just know they announced those charges. But even though, yes, she did not disclose it, and I'm still not. If she's tied to the money laundering, okay, fine, that's different.
Right.
The laundering is a different issue, but a lot of people are talking about the speech specifically, the contents of her speech, and whether or not that alone should have been grounds. For just the fact that she's getting, in other words, just the fact that she's getting money from Russia to say Russian talking points, which aren't even unconstitutional in the United States.
Right. And somebody else could have those same talking points without getting money. It could be, you know what I'm saying? Like they're
that's the point. That's exactly my point. That just because she's getting paid to do something constitutional doesn't mean she should be even if the money's coming from Russia. I don't agree. It's still ultimately it comes down to your best evidence. And your best evidence is, well, in the money laundering, it's the money. But if your best evidence was the speech by itself, absolutely not. So that's why if Tim Pool is implicated in this and all they got on him is his speech, the content on his videos, that's absolute bullshit. Because that will lower the standard against us, the average man, woman, and child.
You can't tell me for a second that he didn't. You can't tell me for a second that those people weren't at least suspect of what was going on.
Suspicion is fair.
Suspicion is completely fair, or they're fucking retarded. Like, let's be real.
That's fair too. I think that's more fair than suspicious.
Like, you can't, like somebody offers me a sponsorship for something that's like $12. I'm like, I don't know. Have they seen my views? I don't think this is real. Like, come on now.
Sorry, I was taken for a moment because the prosecutor was talking about some of the evidence against Sean Combs. They're displaying some of the illegal weapons that he is trafficking.
But then for some video or something,
I don't know if that was live or not. It cut to commercial. I'm watching it on local news, but there might be something available online. You probably watch an article or read an article about it so far. But anyway, as far as Tim, here's the thing, whether or not you think he really is, obviously you do. Let me give you that credit. Let us say it is fact. He is only saying what he says because he is being paid, because he knows where the money is coming from.
Right.
But the federal government did not have enough on Tim to even name him in an indictment, or in other words, to actually file any real charges against him. Then to that, I say, so fucking what? Because under the same circumstances, doesn't matter what you're getting paid to say. Ultimately, it's your choice to speak whether or not you're getting paid. So ultimately, the best evidence in that scenario is the specific content of his speech, which is exactly what I don't agree with, and that's exactly what U.S. law was intended to protect. Even if people don't like the speech, even if people don't even if people disagree on political lines, or on any lines whatsoever, whether it's religious lines, political lines, other personal lines, it makes no difference why they disagree. That's all protected for good reason. Because speech alone, when that's evidence of a crime, it's a very low standard.
Right.
Okay. The worst example I can think of, it happened earlier or at least the trial happened this year. I believe you have to look into this, guys. It's called the Apple River stabbing. The trial took place this year. I think the incident's from 2021, actually. Mm-hmm. An older man named Nikolai Mew. He was in Wisconsin. It's a hot spot. It's a cool river. The water's about knee high, so there's just enough water for people to sail around on rafts and just have a good time. This guy dropped his cell phone, and he went looking for it near some. Yeah, he dropped it in the cell phone because of the flow of the water. Yeah, because of the flow of the water, he went looking for it. It moved towards some drunk teenagers. I don't know how old they were. They were called teenagers all throughout.
Right.
But whatever the case, Nikolai bumped into one of them who was holding a camera, just recording whatever was going on before that. And for some reason, not only did he take this personal, the cameraman, not only did he take it personal, he started yelling to his friends and everybody else nearby that Nikolai was looking for little girls and that he got it on video.
What?
Nikolai didn't say anything to him. In fact, that witness, the cameraman, took the stand at the trial earlier this year and said he lied.
Oh my
He
God.
admitted he lied.
That's a good Zark fucking turn.
And I know, but this is my best example of when speech alone is enough for the use of force.
Right. Okay.
It's whether you think it's the force of law, force of hand, whatever the case. This is what happens. So this man was accused on video, and the video shows he didn't say anything. The cameraman had to admit on the stand that he lied to his friends, but then he also went on to say, "I don't know why I lied." He even looked at the judge, said, "Can I?" Because he was asked by the defense attorney, "Why did you lie?" And
Right.
the witness looks to the judge and he says, "Can I just say I don't know to that one?"
Oh my God.
Yes. So what happened from there? Nikolai was kicked to the ground, stomped on. He stood up, he had a knife in his pocket, and he started stabbing people. Now, at some point, per the common law rules of self-defense, if you're, especially when you use a knife or any lethal weapon, if you attack, even in what you believe to be self-defense, if you attack when the threat is no longer imminent, you will go to prison. You will lose your self-defense claim. The jury seemed to agree that,
If they're breathing, does that mean the threat's still there? Because that sounds like my rationale.
well, under law, the self-defense, the use of force is only for imminent circumstances.
A heartbeat, Joseph.
Well, whatever the case, the jury didn't agree that the threat was imminent anymore when he gave that final stab. Nikolai went to prison for reckless homicide, multiple counts. He's already an older man. He's probably never getting out unless there's a miracle on appeal. And all that happened because one dipshit with a camera lied.
Oh
And he
my
said,
God.
and he said something.
Did he get any charges?
No.
Wow.
The cameraman was never charged. So that's the kind of stuff. And this is a recent example. You guys can read up about this. Happened earlier this year, the Apple River stabbing, for those of you who want to read about the incident. All this because one guy with a camera kept pointing at Nikolai and saying he's looking for little girls, and other people took it too serious.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, that's a huge fucking deal. Like, if that were true, I could see why they would absolutely. That's horrifying. That he has to spend his life in jail now.
Yeah. And now whether or not people think the use of force in self-defense was actually justified, that's a separate conversation. Just remember, this started because one guy with a camera admittedly lied.
Wow.
So, but that's what happens when words are taken too seriously, words by themselves. What Tim Pool did, yes, money is involved, but it's ultimately whether or not money is involved, it still would have been just words by themselves.
Okay, that actually brings up another question I have for you. We've kind of touched on it a little bit, but Trump was blaming, when it came to this recent assassination attempt, he was blaming the Kamala Biden administration for the way that they speak about him. You know, he's a threat to democracy. I don't know exactly what else they've said, but do you think that they have any play in that?
Do you think, do you think it should be like a culpable thing, like a criminal culpability thing? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, because I absolutely don't.
Speaking from a distance, like they do as politicians, no, I don't agree with that. It's not the same as going to a crowd of people you consciously know to be violent and you are specifically provoking them to commit acts of violence at a certain person or in any general in any general direction. Do not think that's the same at all. I don't think that should be treated the same. So no, I don't think the politicians, the way they spoke specifically, I don't think so.
Politician thing. right? Like how many times have we heard so and so is a threat to our democracy, or like Trump saying literally in the same interview they're going to destroy our country. Like if you make people responsible to that degree, everybody's going to end up in jail.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Similar to, it's basically the same lesson, just very different circumstances. What I said a moment ago, the speech alone can't be a it can't be a standard of evidence. It's not good enough. And like I said, it creates a very low standard. And that's the whole thing I was trying to highlight when I mentioned the Apple River stabbing. And similar with political speech, because even though the politicians are the ones saying it, anybody could. It doesn't have to be the politicians. Now, truth be told, the freedom to speak is actually a right of the people. A lot of people don't seem to understand that if the right to speak, the right of the people to speak is restricted, the right of the government won't be. It's a separate issue. It's not that simple. Because
I mean,
as
yeah,
elected
that makes
officials, they
sense.
have to speak.
Yeah.
So, and then if you want another example about the low standards of speech, we can look to something else in history, or everyone's favorite exception to free speech, obscenity. That's what everybody goes to when you talk about no speech. If I were to say speech is either free or it is not, often I could get the rebuttal obscenity, because people have often heard that's the exception to free speech. First off, that does not, the term obscenity, at least as far as I know, does not come from United States federal law. So it's not it's not something that at least or originated that was compared to the First Amendment. As far as I know, that's not the case. But the origin of obscenity, I know it does come from the states. And the origin of obscenity has nothing to do with photography, has nothing to do with stone sculptures or even anything hand drawn. It has to do with plain text, like what we're reading in the chat right now. It's just plain text. It was a man that went to the fighting words doctrine is another thing that's misunderstood. But as far as obscenity, it came down to a case in 1896. A man was locked up because he published a book about corruption in the Catholic Church. The priests were basically probing women for the most intimate details of their sins. So the book was published to expose corruption in the Catholic Church, and this man was actually arrested and convicted for the book. And the judge,
What?
yeah, and in the court's opinion, it was affirmed that intent didn't matter because the nature of the book was specifically for sexual gratification.
What?
Yes, that was in 1896. I know, and stuff like that. We can read way worse stuff than that in the news right now if we just go take a few minutes and scroll. We don't have to try very hard to find anything worse than that. But that was 1896. That standard wasn't overturned until the 70s. A man with the last name Miller was arrested because of a catalog for his magazine service that he was putting in mailboxes. Remember, this is the 70s.
Right.
So that's the only way you can advertise stuff like that. So he was arrested for that, convicted. His appeal went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the court set a new standard for obscenity because the controversy was acknowledged, except it really doesn't seem to make sense based on what the First Amendment was really intended for. It was not intended to restrict the eyes, the ears, and the voice. But historically, our rights have been viewed through the lens of society. So as the mood of society changes, judges sometimes change.
Right. And
And that's,
overturns window shifts.
yes, even though by the letter that wasn't supposed to be there. But the court gave in. The court created a test called the Miller test. It has three main questions. And if the answer is yes to all three, then you have obscenity. So two of them have to do with the nature of the sexual or any kind of sexual content that may be in the art piece. And then the last one says the work taken as a whole seriously lacks any political, literary, scientific, or artistic value. And if you get yes to all three, then you have obscenity.
Right.
And as you see, you can tell by that language, it's a subjective standard, so it's
very
controversial.
subjective.
Right. So now when people talk about obscenity as the exception, the exception to free speech, you follow those rules closely enough, we're going to get back to the days where women can't can't expose their
show their
ankles, okay?
elbows.
Can't show elbows, your wrist, Jesus. No,
Oh
that's
my. See, this is exactly what I mean, and people use this rhetoric, and this is kind of what I was asking about. Every day in the media, Trump is a Hitler type. First off, I don't know that the media really says that, but that's regardless. For 8 years, maybe, so they have fault in it. If that's the case, then Trump is at fault for all of the bomb threats in Springfield right now, right?
I guess, like I said,
if you're doing both, you can't do this. You just can't.
Well, yeah, if you want to, you make a connection. One guy speaks, and other people take action. I'm sure if you do that over and over, yeah, you're gonna blame that guy. I don't know that he's immediately responsible. I can't say that Trump is immediately responsible for any
Obviously,
bomb
I
threat.
was being hyperbolic.
Right. I'm going along with it.
Okay.
I'm going along with it. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, no, for people to say that just because this guy speaks, and then another takes action, but that's really not fair, because again, for security concerns, out of security concerns, what people fail to see is what is actually happening. A man speaks, others take action, and now people will want some kind of security measure in place. And the issue there is, in order to take the security measure against speech, you have to restrict speech. And as I exemplified, as you lower that example, as you lower the standard of evidence, it gets easier to accuse people. That was the whole point.
Right,
Again, that was the whole point of the Apple River stabbing. An accusation alone becomes evidence. And that's exactly what the First Amendment is. One of the many things First Amendment was meant to protect. Speech alone does not prove a crime, regardless of how disagreeable it is. Right? You can look online, libertarians are asking for some very bizarre shit right now.
Libertarians are wild.
They're out of their fucking mind. They have been a lost people for generations. Absolutely. But you look at what they're saying, as shocking as a lot of it may be, no, I don't agree with prosecuting anybody for speech alone, because I understand the risk. Because when you lower that standard, again, it just makes an accusation evidence of a crime. And then you get political prosecutions, or just prosecutions for convenience all around, whatever the reason.
I do think Reese makes a good point here. Also, good morning, Reese. From a certain point of view, words have a great effect on some people. I do think there are people that are very easily influenced, right? My grandparents, for example, they're pretty worried about Springfield right now. They're pretty worried about Springfield right now. Like,
are they just like yanking cats off the streets right now?
No, they believe every fucking thing that comes out of Trump's mouth. He could literally right now say that he has an alien in his basement tied up, and they would be like, okay, all right, Trump, you're the first one to get an alien. That's my boy. Like, there are people, and don't get me wrong, I love them, but they're fucking stupid. Like, they are people that are truly into that, like, cultish, not just a regular Trump supporter, right? They are ride or die bitches. Like,
no, that got too serious though.
No, the gullible. We'll just use the word the gullible, because I don't want to call people fucking stupid, but people are fucking stupid.
You want to take the TV away, right?
Right, exactly. When you get like the absolute ignorance, people that should, not be voting, but they are anyways. You look at it and you're like, they are easily influenced by words. They are easily influenced by what pop culture features have to say. Like, there's definitely going to be some Swifties out there that think Kamala is the, next best thing. Like, because I'm just saying, because Taylor Swift endorsed her. And don't get me wrong, like, I'll be the first to say my vote doesn't matter. But I'll be voting for Kamala. Like, I'm not afraid to say that. But there are people that are very easily influenced, which is really, really scary to know that they're voting alongside yours. Their vote means just as much as yours.
Yeah, you can. Again, there's some people who are way too easily influenced. no argument for me. Borrow again from the Apple River stabbing if you want another current example. It's all the same thing. When just any speech, whether it's speculation or a blatant lie, for some reason, some people really do just want to believe it.
Yeah.
And
And
yes,
Patrick's time. Oh, I got a tip. Let me get that. He says Democrats are more likely to believe mainstream media. That's not just Democrats. That's Republicans too. Fox is mainstream media. Now, somebody like Tim Pool, who is in the mainstream, is, now being licensed for Russian propaganda. People are going to believe that too. Like, it's just wild to me. Empaz, thank you so much. Liz Wheeler of the Daily Wire is now claiming the age of argument of playing video games because hyper violence. Hold on.
what is this?
I can't take stupid sometimes.
Hyperviolence and makes men unattractive. When hard conservatives get on
their pedestal. Okay, so we're doing the video game thing again.
always
Like,
something.
It's always
There's always a way to circle back to it.
The last time you played Grand Theft Auto, did you go rob somebody just out of curiosity?
I don't have to answer that.
I mean, that's fair. You don't want to implicate yourself. Like, I mentioned earlier, I play Coral Island. I'm not out there farming and fucking mining and diving. Like, I'm not doing these things because of that's. I can't. Sometimes conservatives will never learn when it comes to video games.
I didn't do any of that after playing Grand Theft Auto. I didn't play Saints Row. Take off all my clothes, go steal a UFO. Okay, I didn't do any of that. And if you've never played Saints Row the Third, yeah,
He's
you
lying.
can do that.
We have video proof. It'll be the Salem witch trials all over again. That's scary.
And that's it. Hell, look to the Salem witch trials again. Probably a better historical example. An accusation alone was. But that's really the issue about the freedom to speak. People are confused. Like, the freedom to speak doesn't mean you have to believe anything. That's the issue. But with politics, there's this overwhelming notion that everything spoken must be considered. They must be, if you have to believe that something is a threat against you, and that or everything you do is right. Everybody who has something to say is getting in your way. Now, I agree. There's something wrong with all that behavior. No argument for me, guys. But what I was really getting at is really my underlying message about that, and why I don't believe in prosecuting Tim Pool if that's your best evidence, his speech. You have to remember, the rules for one are the rules for everybody.
Everybody. Yep.
So when that standard is lowered, that means you're all victims. And you've seen, especially these calls against sexual violence, especially with the internet. Unfortunately, vast majority of our men, it's hard. It's already hard as fuck for men to shrug that off. Right. So now imagine that's enough for a conviction.
Yep, that's horrifying. Like, you have to protect speech for people that you hate what they're saying.
Yeah,
you have to, or we're gonna end up in a fascist nation. And this is why I love Reese. He said, if you're voting for Kamala, I may have to vote for the first time in years. Trump actually needs to win or we're fucked. See, and this is what I like about conversations, because I could make an argument that Kamala needs to win or we're fucked, right? It's just your outlook on and your life experience when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, if Trump wins, we may be fucked. Do I actually think we're going to be this fascist, crazy nation that a lot of lefties think? No, of course not. But
no, it didn't happen the first time either.
Exactly. So I don't, you gotta learn to believe and not be this person that's so influenced by speech and by pop culture figures. And I think I went through that, very publicly went through that, because I was right-leaning until I started to see how fucking horrible some of these people were. Like, another thing that came up, I know I keep mentioning Springfield, but there are flyers going around Springfield right now for the Ku Klux Klan.
Oh God, Ohio, and the Klan. Somehow
Oh,
it's always
they
them.
go hand in hand. Come on now.
No, there, there are four jurisdictions, four states that have informed a lot of case law because of the corruption at the states. Ohio being one of them.
Oh, Lunchbox, I love your profile picture. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
How you doing, Lunchbox? Anyway, yeah, Ohio, and the Klan, the two people that have informed United States case law because they keep fucking up. Loud and proud, they do it. No, but
Ohio, but that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. This flyer literally said like the Grand Wizard, and there was a phone number that you could call.
are you gonna call it?
I'm scared.
I want to call it. I'll tell them I'm not white.
Oh my god! Wait, hold on. I know
I'm gonna
where
ask them
it's
what the
at.
food is. I'm gonna ask them what kind of food they serve.
I can't imagine.
I'm gonna ask them if I can borrow some sugar.
I'm gonna look for the number. I'm gonna call it live. I just gotta find it. I know where I saw it, so it shouldn't be that hard to find. I should have taken a screenshot because I was like blown away that was even a thing. It's in the freaking Amazing Lucas video. I just gotta find it.
You still watch that guy? That's weird to me.
Why is
Of
it
all
weird?
the things you had to say to me, because you know he's garbage.
Oh, he is.
Is that what it is? Is that why you watch him?
No, because here's the thing. I like dissenting points of view. I like listening to people that don't agree with me. I think it's a good exercise in being able to handle other stuff, right? Handle other opinions.
None is more dissenting than he.
Right.
None
He's
is more
super
disagreeing.
racist. Like if you want to see somebody that's super racist towards white people, that's all you got to look at. But
Other than yourself?
Totally. Fucking white people. You guys are the worst. I mean, what?
Okay, I'm looking at some of the charges on screen for Sean Combs: racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution. So yes,
What?
yeah. So that means, like I said, he's probably going away for the rest of his life.
Oh my god.
Hell, if he's desperate, he'll take a plea deal. Maybe maybe he'll get out when he's 91.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, for him at this point with these kind of charges, if he were going to get a plea deal and actually get any kind of lighter sentence, he would have to offer something very good to the federal government, something they really need, something bigger than what he's already busted for.
Okay,
so
which by example would be,
I don't know, because this is an international thing. So he's expert. Remember, the Homeland Security deals with international issues. The FBI only investigates domestically, but across the entire United States. So that means this is in connection to some shit that's happening in other countries. So then maybe he has names of somebody that the government's been looking for. If he knows something like that, yeah, it's the same thing they did. That's the reason RICO charges were made. RICO charges were made because the government wants to prosecute everybody involved. But what they usually do in RICO charges, they're slow because they look for everybody at the ground level. They try to get them to name names, and they'll give lighter sentences to everybody at the bottom because they want the big guy at the top that controls all the money. But somebody's got to give that name.
right?
Now,
I mean, isn't he kind of the big guy at the top, or
it would seem like that, but then we don't know. He's being indicted, so he's the one indicted specifically. This is called United States versus Sean Combs, so he is the only defendant so far. So that means, if let's just say he had a name bigger than that, then it would be he would actually still have his own trial, but then whoever's investigating would move on to that if he can actually name something. But like I said, I don't know, because I'm not in the federal government, so I can't actually tell you who exactly they're looking for around the world. I'm just throwing that out there as a hypothetical. If he can offer something bigger than himself, that'd be the only reason he got a plea deal. Now, as you said, he's big all by himself. So it's doubtful that he can give the federal government bigger than this. So he's he's going to, for a fact, he's going to trial. He probably doesn't have anything to offer them. His lawyer is actually talking right now. I just can't hear it. But anyway, he's like I said, he's probably not coming out of prison for charges like this with the weapons, drugs, all the weapons enhancements. These are RICO charges, so they know he has partners. This got really good.
I found it.
What'd you find? Did you find like an article about it? Anything in writing that we can use?
No, hold on. Okay. I'm going to put my phone on speaker. Let's see if we can find it. I got my phone turned down, so there we go.
Oh, you found okay.
Come on. Don't be disconnected. Oh my God, answer the phone, please.
Yeah, doesn't the call ID say you're a white woman?
I mean, definitely. It just says Karen.
It's a respectable name.
Thanks for calling the Trinity White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. We are an organization of men, women, and children dedicated to the protection and advancement of the white race. If you would like more information or an application to the Trinity White Knights, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to P.O. Box 72, Maysville,
Oh my
Kentucky,
God.
41056.
Oh my God.
That's P.O. Box 72, Maysville, Kentucky, 41056. You have a great white day of white power.
What?
That is the height of free speech, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God, you have a great white day. Stop it. And he sounded like he fucked his sister.
Oh, yeah.
And then married her.
I was going to ask him if he'd seen my cat. He's black and his name is Teriyaki.
Oh my God. That's so funny. She's submitting an app live. No, I was calling because that shit was going around Springfield.
I want to submit an app.
Oh my God, because of all of this like crazy rhetoric. It's going around and it's like, I mean, I remember when the Klan would come to town when I was young. This sounds like I'm old. No, it's just like, it was a thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And like, it would be on lockdown. And now they're just like out there in the open.
Wow. Your place is fucked.
I mean, that's fair. Oh my God. Why? Like, I wonder how many people actually, because they're not hiding. They're not like trying to, like, they've got that flyer all over, right?
Yeah.
They're not trying to hide. They didn't disconnect the phone number because a bunch of, you know what I mean? Like, I wonder how many people are like sending them glitter bombs or like even worse than that, like sending them used dildos.
Used, why Christ. This got very oddly specific. So there's a story you want to tell?
No, I'm just saying like they've got to send them something crazy. Have a white day, it said. No, race, shut up. I just found it funny. Oh my God. Now I'm on some registry, right? Like for sure. Like FBI is definitely watching me.
Oh, yeah.
Have a nice
you're screwed.
day. Oh my God.
I'm not white. I'm a greater protected class than you are.
Oh my God. Yeah, but I'm a woman. So boom.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. Shut up.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Well, anyway. Oh, well, what else? What else do we need to tackle in our closing minutes?
Oh wait, is there any updates? I was too interested in. Oh wait, here, let me share this real quick because it looks like there's a few. So we've got the live updates. Okay, so he's charged with racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, guns, and 1,000 bottles of lubricant.
Holy shit!
What?
Like, is he being arrested for sex trafficking or for a party?
Like, I am okay. Was he buying in bulk? Like, You went to the local Costco's for lubricant?
Man, that just showed up in the mail one day. I didn't order that.
He's
Somebody stole
sending
my
it to
credit
those
card.
people we just called. Oh my God.
That would be funny.
Electronic devices that contain images, videos of freak offs with multiple victims. Okay, so they're calling sex freak offs? Oh,
No,
it's
that's
a
what he's
sex
always called.
performance. Okay. And they seize cases and cases of kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil.
Can you imagine that though from inside the cell? So what are you in for? Thousands of bottles of lube?
Oh my God.
Tell me more.
Oh my God. He used others to conceal. Oh my God.
He's been using other people to conceal that lube. He was sneaking in lube from outside the country.
Right? Everybody got that fucking 100 case and brought it to.
See, that's why dude's butthole was really bleeding.
Oh my God. He forgot the lube. He's like, I got 1,000 bottles at home, but you know.
He rolled over at night and said, shit.
Oh my God. So they're trying to keep him before. That's what I had heard yesterday, that they're trying to keep him behind bars before the trial.
Yeah, when you have charges this serious, you can be held indefinitely. So he's, like I said, he probably saw his last day in the free world sometime yesterday.
Yep. Wow. Now they're giving out phone numbers to call too.
I'm sorry?
I said now they're giving out phone numbers to call too.
Wait, what's the phone number for?
Anyone with any information.
Is your butthole bleeding? Did you bring in lube from outside
Call
of the U.S.?
1-877 freak off. Oh my God. He used party drugs to victims. Okay, so he's drugging people.
Yeah, that was in many of the civil suits.
Narcotics, ketamine, ecstasy, GHB. Wow, to keep them obedient and compliant. Was that the issue with the? Oh my God.
Okay, so if that's true, that means there are going to be a hell of a lot of witnesses. This trial is probably going to be about 6 weeks, and it's going to be a lot of witnesses.
Oh no, I didn't see your super chat. I'm sorry, Robert. I was looking at my phone. By the way, Art Spielman, Moss, is coming to Ohio soon. He should probably not. For his own sanity. Just saying. He should probably not.
Yeah, I think you should stay out of Ohio altogether. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's
it's a bunch of
advice.
crazy people who live there. I don't know.
Yeah, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets, people.
Once, like I wasn't eating an animal last night. I eat chicken.
I mean, but
chickens are pets in my neighborhood, by the way.
What? I mean, baby chickens are adorable though, but then they get ugly.
No, they're full grown, like roosters yelling at you first thing in the morning.
Oh my God, that's so cute. Kind of.
All right. So,
Cartoon and Comics said P. Diddy studied with the Tate brothers.
Oh, but imagine there's a link because remember Andrew's getting new charges too.
Yes.
And he's on. Okay, that is overseas. I don't know if there's a connection, but if they find that, they'll extradite Diddy from here. First, he's going to face the trial in the U.S. Anyway, as far as Tate, well, shit, he gave himself away because he was charged in, I think, England for sex with a minor. He said that his girlfriend, he had a girlfriend. She was 15 when they were dating. He admitted that, and they were together for 6 years. I don't know now for what it's worth. He never specifically admitted to sexual activity. But I didn't follow all the charges. But it does seem like he screwed himself over just for just for saying that
multiple times during just normal videos.
Okay, so that's nothing new. Yeah, and that's another thing. The videos I only saw any videos recently. I don't know how old they were. I didn't follow this guy. I didn't give a shit about him.
Right.
But yeah, from what I can tell, he's going to go away for a real long time. If these are connected, then that's even, that's even worse. But like I said, I don't think either one of those guys are getting out for a while, especially not Sean, especially with charges like these. He's, as far as defending him, That's a hell of a lawyer. That's ride or die.
This is horrifying.
But still to this day, he's still going to plead not guilty. That's interesting.
This is horrifying. The victims would take weeks or days to heal. Like there's a you can't walk straight. That's a whole new fucking level of you can't walk straight the next day.
All right, so let's talk about statements like that. How, if you're a lawyer, how do you defend that? Well, first off, you need to know the trial has not started. This is just the arraignment.
Right.
First, the indictment is unsealed, and they make sure they got the right guy, and now they are telling this man what his charges are. They're going to lightly touch on some of the evidence against him, but this is the very beginning. Everything when it comes to trials, the trial is either made or broken at pre-trial more so than anything else, because the pre-trial motions, like actually hashing out what evidence belongs in this trial and what is just too generally attached to Sean Combs specifically, that is what's going to make or break the trial. So statements like that, like these women are leaving his houses injured, by example.
Oh my God.
Good. First off, yes, that's very serious. However, how did what they want to know, and only the lawyer is going to be able to see it at this point, how the hell did they actually connect these injuries to his house? Now, they know what happened at his house, apparently. As it alleges, and that's been going on for a while, the allegations have always said that the parties at his house aren't just wild, they're outright illegal. So these guys are doing some shit that obviously they never should have done. But as far as linking it to Sean Combs specifically, that could be a little bit harder, because okay, he's allowing it in his house, right? But he can't be everywhere at once. As far as civil liability, yeah, in a more nebulous way, he could be held liable. But from a criminal standpoint, and that kind of evidence, it takes something it does say something more specific. And so that statement right there, that these women, basically were leaving his house injured, that's the statement right now. That may not be the statement made when it actually goes into trial, because a lot of things are going to get hashed out, and that's the importance of actually getting the lawyer at the pretrial, actually figuring out how much of this stuff can safely be connected to him. Who are the witnesses, by example? The witnesses might have been at his house, but maybe let's say the three best witnesses never saw Sean Combs involved. In fact, we'll even say the three best witnesses all said Sean was at the other side of the house when this happened.
Right.
Well, that can't be connected to Sean. And remember, whether it's a video, whether it's a witness, whether it's something written, all of that in a criminal court carries the exact same weight. So it all ultimately comes down to the credibility of everything individually. Basically, is the prosecutor presenting this evidence in good faith and accurately? Because it's lawful to just throw shit together. That's how prosecutors get people put away all the time. They throw shit together and they just hope the defense lawyer doesn't figure it out. So he does actually seem to have a good lawyer with him. So just saying, like I said, a hypothetical like that, if the witnesses are all giving the same story and it doesn't even look like Sean is involved at pretrial, some of these witnesses are going to get dismissed.
Well, and I also wonder if they're talking about injuries that would last so long. I feel like there should be some sort of, I know women are very, very apprehensive to go to a doctor for an injury like that, but there should be something, right? Like even if it's not all of them, some sort of, ER visit or OB visit, something.
Question. Since you have worked in hospitals, is it mandatory as mandatory reporters? I know if there was an attack on a minor, the hospital absolutely has to report it. But what about for adults?
Usually there is mandatory reporting, especially if you think there's some sort of domestic violence or something along those lines. Many times they'll be like, no, right? So you kind of have to take it case by case basis. This one just popped up. Diddy's lawyer said he can be cooperative, has been cooperative, but the U.S., that's the newest update. He's not been.
All right. Well, anyway, for these women leaving with injuries, I'm not sure. Just based on that alone, I'm not exactly sure how the federal government got involved. There has to be a report of a crime. Somebody had to go to the government.
Right, but they're all okay. So what I mean specifically is if there was, tearing, vaginal tearing or something,
Okay.
there can be excuse making, right? But that evidence of that would still be there. That doctor's visit record would still be there.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be reported as a crime, but there should still be some sort of paper trail if they went. But a lot of women are very apprehensive to go for something like that. I just wait it out. Just wait it out, right? So it's really going to depend on what type of. I'm guessing there's something. I'm guessing there's something. That's
Is it
terrifying.
something that the hospital could report later? Maybe just something on the paperwork that somebody sees later, rather
Possible,
than
but unlikely.
Okay, so that's less likely. And so, because I'm wondering how they actually got involved. So just trying to get you guys a preview of what would actually happen to Sean. Like, in other words, what kind of fight does his lawyer actually have to put up? What kind of motions? You're going to see it over and over. Motion to suppress.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And, so motion to suppress just means this piece of evidence is not admissible at trial. And unfortunately, because of the notoriety around this case, there's almost no way to find somebody who did not see anything involved in this case. My mom barely knows who Sean Combs is, but even she's heard about it.
Right.
Everybody, everybody's heard about this. But if he wants his right to a jury trial, it's not going to be enough just to say. It may not be enough to say there's too much media bias against him, especially because the exact charges did not come out until today.
Right.
Lots of rumors, of course, and yes, you had the civil suits. True, but the civil suits. First off, here's another thing. I think one or two were settled. One was dismissed because it wasn't lawfully done. The rest, I don't know. One did, result in a default judgment.
Yeah, and then there was the Cassie case that she won.
Yeah. So when it comes to if the lawyer wants to argue for biased media against him, nothing was unlawfully done. First of all, so if anything was confidential, by example, and it got thrown out there, like let's say anything that the grand jury was reviewing, or any of their thoughts and opinions before this was actually announced, that's the kind of stuff that could get it dismissed just by media bias.
Right.
For this alone, this is too big. The whole world was watching, and it's their right to see it.
Yep,
so that
absolutely.
So that alone may not be enough. It's got to be something a bit more overwhelming. It looks like the Justice Department is the one who's prosecuting this. It looks like they handled everything right, so I doubt he's going to get anything suppressed just because of the exposure to the media. Even though he didn't do anything, he probably followed his lawyer's advice, said, don't talk about it, don't talk to anybody, just go about your life. Even though he didn't do it, it just doesn't look like there's enough to suppress it from there.
Well, it's definitely both of these cases I want us to keep an eye on, because these are going to, I don't know how long it's going to take or whatever, but I want to cover them. I think I never heard his music. Michael, that's wild to me.
You're one of the lucky ones.
You're not missing anything, to be fair. But I really remember him from that I'll Be Missing You song when Biggie died, maybe. He had a big hit then. He had a bunch of big hits. I'm just not a big rap person, but I do know who he is. But yeah, I want to keep an eye on these cases because I think they're both very interesting in two different aspects. They're both very interesting. Violence on women and, violence on our ears as far as YouTubers go.
Okay, well, Lauren's not that bad.
Oh my God.
It's not like you it's not like you hesitated to watch any video I sent you.
I knew it was Lauren Chen, and I knew it was going to be my gay bad.
That's exactly why I sent it to you.
It's so predict like the.
Sometimes you just got to step out of your shell. I just thought that was the right way to do it.
Yeah, except for now, come to find out, you love Russian propagandists.
Excuse me, miss. I will defend everybody's rights. Even
propagandists.
I'll defend Tim Pool. I'll defend Lauren. It doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter. Remember, the rights for them are the rights of everybody. So yeah, I will happily stand by that.
And that's why I want to make sure we I do want to wrap up, but I do want to make sure that everyone knows we're definitely going to be keeping an eye on these two.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is probably the next the next biggest trial ever.
Yeah, like after Johnny Depp.
Well, yeah, that I think that was the most popular. I think, but then you had OJ's trial, you had Casey Anthony.
Oh yeah.
Now you have this. I can't think of anything equivalent to either one of the two since then. Honestly.
Oh goodness gracious! No, yeah, John Benet Ramsey, but that was a long time ago.
What was that one about?
A little girl got murdered.
Oh yeah, no, never mind that.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up. Thank you, Joseph, so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate you helping me return.
No problem. Welcome back. Glad you're doing well.
Happy freaking birthday.
I'm gonna go make it count.
Hell yeah. All right, we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Have a good one, guys.